Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is noun phrase 261. The noun phrase today is product placement. Okay, somebody wants a screenshot, do it right now. Let's get right to it. All right, product placement is a form of advertising in which a brand or product is placed in a very obvious or prominent way in forms of the media, especially films, especially movies, TV shows, etc. Okay. Often companies will be required to pay for this benefit. Such examples include, such examples commonly seen are food items, drinks, vehicles, electronics. Like maybe you see somebody drinking a Coca-Cola and you see the words Coca-Cola directly there. That was definitely product placement if you see something like that. All right, let's continue. The origin of product placement dates back to the late 1800s, so a long time ago. The first recorded product placement by Auguste and Louis Lumiere in 1896. So that was the first one. Their films featured Sunlight soap, which was requested by the Lever brothers. I guess that was the company. Yes, by the Lever brothers. All right, now, there were some cases where people suspected some other product placement before this, but there's no proof that they received payment, so I don't know if it's officially product placement. But this is the first one that they know absolutely they were paid for it. So that makes it officially a product placement. There are other ones where the products were in a very obvious way, but we don't know if they just did it to make the scene more natural. I think there was a case with a painting and I think some other film, but we don't know if they were paid for it. All right, let's go on. In the early 1920s, the Harrison reports often criticized movies for product placement. After this, it was used on and off. Well, it might have slowed it down. And wasn't used quite as much, but it was still used a little bit. All right, let's go to this part. Steven Spielberg, in his 1982 E.T. movie, he kind of brought it back in a big way with Reese's Pieces. And of course, sales greatly increased after this. And since then, I think there's been a much greater increase in product placement since that time. He originally approached Mars, the candy company Mars, which owned M&Ms, and they rejected it. I remember reading about it. They thought E.T. looked scary. They didn't think it was going to be a big hit. So it ended up being a mistake because Reese's Pieces had recently come out and they were competing with M&Ms. They made, the same sort of candy, it's just with the peanut butter inside. And they gained some market share from this, so it really worked well for them. And, since that time, it kind of took off more. All right, and let's just give 3 examples of how you may hear it in a sentence. In the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks, FedEx and Wilson Sporting Goods were common product placements. Yeah, supposedly the main character, worked for FedEx, and then he got stuck on the island, and the FedEx boxes swam ashore. So this was a good advertisement for FedEx. And that's where he got he opened one of the packages. That's where it was the Wilson Sporting Good. That's the one that later on, he cuts his hand and he draws a picture on it. And when he was on the island by himself, he was talking to the ball. And he called it Wilson because it was from Wilson Company. So it was, again, a good advertisement for Wilson products, Wilson Sporting Products. All right, let's look at the second one here. In movies today, it is quite common to see computers with the Apple logo on it as product placement for Apple. Yeah, in a lot of movies, you'll see, they'll zoom in on it and you'll see the big Apple, especially with the bite taken out of it, their logo. So obviously, Apple probably paid for that. All right, and number 3, if you see a drink, and I've seen this before in movies, if you see a drink in a movie and the name was purposely turned away from the camera, that means the company did not pay for product placement. I have seen that in movies where you could tell they moved this. Sometimes you might even recognize the company, but the name was turned away. Maybe they offered the company and they were not willing to pay for this advertisement. So this is what we mean. But you do see a lot in movies today, TV shows, etc. Okay, anyway, I hope you got it. I hope it was clear. I hope it was informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.